Oh, hello there. Yes, well, turned out cool again, didn't it? Yes. Anyway, over the weekend we had some rumblings of the new kind of media landscape we might start to expect after, well, what's likely to be a Labour landslide on Thursday. Did have to smile at the Daily Mail, who produced a very handy guide for those of us that are wondering which way to vote as to how to prevent a Labour landslide. But it's great. You can look up your constituency and see exactly who to vote for. The Conservatives, obviously. The Mail are maintaining their "we're a Conservative paper" stance, which of course goes with their history, apart from the brief blip with Mosley, that nice Mr. Mosley. I wonder why they stopped doing that. Anyway, yes, but perhaps the big news this weekend, albeit quietly, was the Sunday Times have come out and endorsed Labour, which perhaps is an indication of where the Murdoch ones are going to go. The Sun is still not saying anything particularly positive about Labour, but you do get big ads from the party there. So we'll see. I have a feeling that come Thursday morning, the Sun will say, vote Labour. Because Murdoch always knows which side of the bread his butter falls down on the carpet on, or something like that. Anyway, yes. What will happen, though, to those other ones? I mean, the sale of the Telegraph is becoming quite intriguing in its own right. The government, having decided that it was happy to sell off absolutely everything to anybody from anywhere on the planet, in its infinite wisdom a few weeks ago decided it couldn't possibly have the Daily Telegraph being sold to a bunch of foreigners. So instead it's going to be sold to a bunch of very, 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 very sensible and definitely clean-cut business people in the UK. But there is a big problem with it, in the sense that there's a huge black hole of, the best part of 300 million quid, which the Barclays appear to have walked off with, which no one's expecting to get back. So whoever does buy it for the influence, might well be GB News Legatum lot, anyway, we'll see, is really going to have to swallow a huge loss to do so, which means that if it is GB News Legatum lot, then what are they going to do with GB News and that whole infrastructure that's kind of grown up around it? Because a lot of our current media celebrities or influencers, or whichever way you want to put it, those really annoying types like Darren Grimes, etc., could potentially be out on their ear, because GB News is losing, over 40 million quid last year. It's very unlikely to have made very much of a dent into that this year. Now, it might want to hang around for a bit in terms of a Tory leadership race, but that will very much depend, if you like, on who is going to be the leader of the Tory party. And the reason I'm saying that is I am fully expecting, as I say, with the basic Tory hopefuls like Jenrick and possibly even Kami Badenoch to get knocked out, which would leave a gaping hole. This would mean effectively that someone like Nigel Farage could step into that particular gap. That means he won't be able to go on GB News in real terms. It just wouldn't really be allowed under the rules. So what's going to happen in terms of the station without big names like him? And I mean big names because, let's face it, nobody tunes in for Eamon Holmes. All right, it's never ever been anything that someone has said, "Oh, Eamon Holmes is on, quick, turn on the telly." Yes, but then there's those kind of outliers of the field, and I'm sort of becoming quite intrigued now as to what exactly Oli London is going to do, because he's likely to have been paid a reasonable amount of money by the Israeli state, effectively, to produce the stuff that he does, which is basically reminding us all about how hard done by the average Israeli citizen is. Don't forget that the Israeli state gets $500 a head in terms of US aid. That's without the military stuff, if you like. So it can throw around a lot of money at influencers. But I do notice that his heady days of being with, for example, Tucker Carlson have effectively dried up. I haven't seen him on Fox News for God knows, over 6 months now. And even the Newsmax stuff, who are sort of slightly more nuttery than that lot, appears to have dried up. So I have the feeling that he will emerge chrysalis-like into a new form. That's butterfly-like, isn't it? Yeah. But what's he going to be? This is the big question. And what will the rest of them be? You know, because once that particular lifeline of GB News is gone in terms of media appearances, then the bread and butter, the actual rent, will need to be paid. Murdoch not supporting or vaguely not. I can put this. Murdoch broadly supporting a Labour government, at least initially for the first term, might well be the coffin in the nail of Talk TV. So that lot will go as well. So where will this lot go? I don't know. You know, I mean, like for example. Believe it or not, this weekend, I know it's Pride, but there was an alternative to Pride set up by Human Gay Male at the weekend. And I thought, because I saw this a few weeks ago, and I thought, oh God, I've got to see how that goes. And there's absolutely no information about how many people turned up whatsoever. There isn't a single photograph I can find. So my guess is it was less than 10. Because, let's face it, you can't make a tinier number of people than 10 make it look anything like any form of crowd. So those kind of things are going. They are drying up. And there isn't an infrastructure to support it, right? Yeah, because you can't make a living through yearly spiked events, okay? There's a very limited amount of time you can go on the Lotus Eaters and try to build a following. There isn't any money left. So where do these people go? And, you know, I mean, you're partially the sort of audience that I have. Some of you anyway. Not you, obviously, but you're okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, where's he going to go? And, you know, I was sort of thinking maybe he could do an Andy No. Or like the guy who set up Human Gay Male, who appears to have only achieved any form of celebrity status by being arrested. So I'm going to think that Ollie will eventually go somewhere where somebody will punch his lights out because... well, let's face it, it's Oli London. The level of irony there in terms of the way he takes the mickey out of people who've undergone surgery, for example, or maybe look weird, or maybe aren't blessed in the eyes of God. I mean, he's tried the God thing, so presumably we'll need to move on to the next. I don't know. I don't know where Ollie goes, and there is part of me that will... well, it's a very small part. It's a tiny... no, there isn't really any of me, but I'm curious. What's he going to do? Anyway, answers on a postcard, as to the usual address. Do let me know. But yeah, it will be intriguing to see exactly where we are in December, because I have a feeling the media landscape is going to look quite remarkably different. And you then have to sort of say, really? Are you just still going to carry Glinner, someone like that? You're still going to sit in your bedroom in the wee hours of the morning because, you know, there are bills to be paid. And there won't be anyone to pay them. Still, silent majority and all that. Do have a lovely Monday. If you can, yes. Dangerously close to the summer holes. Oh, yeah.